What is up, guys? We are live with a new show,
We're
and
missing Cameron though.
we are.
Yeah, he's somewhere around here, but I don't know. He bailed on us. He doesn't like you.
He didn't like me. He said, "I don't want to do this episode." You know what? This episode is actually really exciting because a lot of people are going to want to know this because there's a fine line between what looks good and what sounds good, and maybe does both. But there's also that fine line that you can cross where things maybe they don't look maybe they look great, but they sound terrible. And that's what today's episode is all about. Now, Cameron is going to be gone today, unfortunately. Last minute thing, he had to leave, and he left me and Ryan to tackle this. There's a bunch of Joes on. Joe and Joe, how's it going?
Hi, Joe and Joe.
And Base That Hurts says, don't forget to hit that like button.
He is 100% correct.
Yes. Now we're probably going to cut this one a little bit short. We're going to be 100% honest with you guys. We love doing this for you. This was my idea to bring it back because there just really isn't a lot of places for support for people in this industry, especially like this hobby. If you guys really want to do this, there's only a couple people that you can really go to. And we want to make sure that we can stay consistent and online with you. Now, we've already cut it back to every other week. And Ryan and I were just talking about that. It's not that we don't want to be here. We love this, right, Ryan?
Sure, I have a lot of fun.
Me too. But the truth of the matter is, we also would love it if every once in a while, if you guys can support us a little bit financially, because we just can't do this all the time, cutting into our family time and our other priorities for fun all the time. Although I wish we could, because if I could, like if I was a self-supported millionaire, I'd be doing this all the time just for fun.
Yeah.
I would.
It's an evening with my family if I'm not here, right? So it's pretty hard to justify being here when my wife is like, I gotta unload the dishwasher, I gotta get the kids ready. Your son's having a meltdown about something, there's things in life.
He wants to know Spider-Man or Superman is better. It's just good evening, TVOR and Social Club Sound, as well as Joe and Joe. So after we said that, if you guys can support us in any way, shape, or form, feel free to send us a super chat every once in a while. We would definitely appreciate that, and it would definitely keep us going. Now, on to the show. We got a question for you, Ryan. And the main question is probably the most important. What's more important, looks or sound?
Oh, come on. That's how you're going to phrase this?
No, I want to know what you think about that, because I think you actually do have an answer for that.
Well, the sound is more important. Even if it looks like a dog's breakfast, if it sounds good, that's form follows function every time.
I'll tell you what, if someone brought a meal to you that looked like a steaming pile of what, would you taste it?
If it looked actually like crap?
Yes. If it looked like it, would you taste it?
I think your psychology, and this, hey, actually, this is a great question, because our psychology does do this when it comes to speakers. If speakers look terrible, especially to just a regular friend who comes over, if you've got spray painted MDF boxes and you're like, yeah, I made these myself, even if they sound amazing, they're probably going to think they're garbage. They'll be totally wrong because their head will tell them they're bad.
There is truth to that. And True Voice of Region, that is a great way to support us. Thank you, guys. Yeah, hit that like button, comment, and share it with people. That's a great way to absolutely be passive and help us out. Absolutely. Not be passive, active. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
But you're right about this, by the way. There is some psychology to this, that speakers do have to look good and sound good. Now, it's very interesting because I remember Bose did this when they came out with their little cube speakers. They actually kind of hid the speakers and made it look like they were these big, large speakers, and people were blown away by something. And then they took them off, and then they're like, whoa, it's just these little things. And so the sound can sound great without looking at it, but there is truth to it that sometimes it needs to look as good as it sounds. And high-end audio knows this. I mean, if we take a look at Wilson Audio, there's speakers that I know Wilson Audio are designed in a way that you don't like, but they look beautiful.
Yeah, they do. Bass That Hurts just helped us out. Thank you very much. Much appreciated.
Oh man, $20. Thank you. Bass That Hurts.
Shiba dog and huh. Is that a question? I'll try to answer.
So there's actually I think that's an emoji that we're not getting.
Yeah, maybe something's some dog in armor holding up a trophy or something.
So I'm going to show one of these speakers that looks really, really good. Beautiful. In fact, I would love to build one like this. And then I want you to tell me why you think that although it looks good, it may not sound, or there might be some sound compromises that were taken.
Oh yeah. Yeah, this is such a classic example.
It's beautiful though, right? I mean, I think it looks like a work of art.
Like, I dare somebody to try to build this. I mean, you'd have to be very skilled. In some sense, it's just a bunch of little boxes stacked up against each other on a pivot of some kind.
Well, they actually, each one of those boxes, if I remember correctly, can not only pivot but also move back and forth so that you can get them time aligned perfectly for that sweet spot that you're aiming for.
Which maybe is the first thing that's wrong with this speaker. I think that's very dangerous, especially for commercial speakers. One thing for a DIY speaker to build it like that, especially in a test box or something, and then slide things back and forth till you know, like, okay, I need to offset my woofer 15 millimeters or something like that to get the phase alignment I need. But for a commercial speaker, where somebody who maybe doesn't even have a measurement microphone is going to start sliding things back and forth and listening for a difference.
So before we go too far into that, there's a good point there. But I'm pretty sure that when you buy these, they set them up for you. For your spot.
Okay. Well, maybe somebody comes into your room and adjusts them. But it shouldn't need adjusting.
So the first time I showed these to Ryan, he said, "Oh, holy diffraction, Batman," or something like that. Because that was your first thought, is like, man, how many diffraction points are we gonna? Yeah,
that's the main problem.
They have changed. It looks like the tweeter now. It looks like the tweeter's concave on these two sides to at least cut down, so it's not the same diffraction point. Which
maybe that
should cut down on some diffraction. Well, it'll help some.
Why are the mids so far away from the tweeter?
Yeah, the mids are. And once again, you have that diffraction point at the exact same. We don't know exactly where they're crossing over, but depending on where they're crossing over, that could be a problem.
The tweeter's the biggest issue in my mind on the speaker.
So it's like a really great looking speaker. And when you look at it, I think if you were standing there, whether it sounded like the most amazing speaker or not, because of the finish and the looks of it, your mind would tell you, hey, this sounds great.
Yeah. Gary just helped us out. So, wow. Thanks for the support, guys. This is crazy. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you, Gary. Guys, we really appreciate that. Thanks a lot. The more one pays, the more accepting one becomes. I believe that to it. And what's interesting is when we look at a lot of speakers that are commercially designed, they are designed with looks in mind. Like, for example, Klipsch.
They have to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Klipsch is not like anything crazy looking necessarily, but they'll put like a beautiful veneer on the outside, and then they'll use those gold woofers that one is signature to Klipsch, so we know they're Klipsch, but they also do look really beautiful on certain speakers that make them, have a certain unique look to them that doesn't have anything to do with how they sound.
But people like that. I mean, I do. I think certain speakers look good. I want to replicate them maybe, or I think, wow, that looks really impressive. That would look good in my living room, whatever it might be. I think my tastes are a little more toned down than some people. I enjoy a simple wood veneer box, especially if it's built with a lot of high-end craftsmanship. I don't need anything extravagant like that Wilson Audio. But a lot of people do. A lot of people love that, or they want them really small, which is a huge compromise for sound quality, but the smaller the better, right?
So let's talk about some of that. Like, what are some of the design things that you've seen that people have done that you're like, absolutely no, you should never do that. I don't care if it looks good or not. I'll start.
Okay, yeah, sure.
It's kind of like the Wilson Audio. I see a lot of people, and I think this has become popular because of there was some really famous, and I cannot think of the name of them right now. Someone in the chat will definitely help us out on this. There were some really famous full range speakers that were designed for audio mixing, and they were a simple cube, like complete cube, okay, with just a full range driver in there. I think it's a 3-inch full range, and the name is escaping me right now, but it was right there. It was right in the center. Diffraction like crazy. You're gonna have also some standing waves inside the box that are going to be problematic. You're going to have all kinds of issues with this particular speaker. It looked good. People liked it for mixing. For whatever reason, it's still actually a very sought after speaker. But design wise, really bad idea for audio, for sounding.
Yeah. I'd agree. Putting a driver smack dab in the middle of a square box isn't ideal. Worse yet would be
a cube. A cube, not just a square box. A cube.
Yeah, sure, a cube.
Because a cube is, I mean, you can. I'm not saying you can get away. It's even worse when it's a cube, I should say.
Yeah, I've seen people do that.
Or a tone. That's it.
I've seen people do that with cylinders. So they'll take like a piece of PVC or something, and they'll plunk a full range driver right on the end of it.
And that looks good, by the way.
It looks cool, but it's not the best for diffraction, that's for sure. Getting back to your question, I made a video a while ago, and I wouldn't say you should never do this, because at the end of my video, I actually said, if you can measure this and make it work, then it's maybe okay. But at the time I made the video, a lot of DIYers were taking tweeters and rear mounting them with just a little chamfer or roundover or something. Did you do that?
I've done it a few times because there's sometimes where, once again, I want to talk about this. So go right ahead.
Okay. Well, they were doing this, and I was like, oh, you really, unless, like that looks like a diffraction nightmare. You're kind of waveguide loading it for a very small band.
Well, you are waveguide loading it, yeah.
Yeah, for like a very narrow frequency. Anyways, I did the test right on video, and I shared it. I didn't like look for bad results. It came out kind of okay, actually. It wasn't good, and anybody who just used the factory FRD files would have bad results. So I stuck to my conclusion, my hypothesis, which was this is a bad idea. But I caveated that with saying, if you have a measurement microphone and you can check that it's doing whatever and you can do a custom crossover, you could make it work. It's just kind of ill-advised. So I saw a lot of that, and I don't see it as much anymore.
Well, some of that goes down to like manufacturers making really ugly tweeter like mounts where it's like, oh man, this just looks terrible on the outside. And I think this is where a DIYer, you get to make that decision. You get to make that choice. What's the lesser of the evils? Is it you want it to look better, or is it that you want it to sound better? And every one of the speakers that you design is a compromise. I don't want anyone to think it's not. It is. Now, what compromises are you going to make? There are a lot of times where I choose the compromise of looks over the compromise of perfect sound, because we will never get perfect sound. And there are going to be some things that are going to have effect. I remember I talked to one guy, which I don't agree with this as a principle as a whole, although I do believe that you can make those individual decisions for yourself, that said, I never have to worry about diffraction because the speaker is going to be more affected in the room than it is with diffraction. So I don't really care.
Oh yeah. That's an incorrect conclusion.
I tried to explain that to him and he didn't agree, but why would you say that's incorrect, by the way?
Before I answer, can you just put all the comments on the side like you usually
do? Yeah, I'm so sorry.
Because I don't think people can see all our comments.
No, you're right.
Yeah, the problem with that, you get that a lot actually, and this isn't about aesthetics, but people will go, oh, who cares about the frequency response? Like I get that a lot on my channel because I produce a lot of anechoic measurements, and they'll say, what's it matter? You should talk about room absorption and room correction and stuff like this. And so it applies to this diffraction thing. Like, why does it matter when the room is going to just kill the sound anyways? And the problem with that is study after study has taught us that the first arrival response to our ears is interpreted differently from our brain in our brains than second, third, and whatever arrivals. Reflections, basically. Those reflections are interpreted from our brain to tell us what kind of space we're in, where sound is coming from. It's actually very useful. So if a sound is emanating from the center of your screen and you happen to have a speaker there where it belongs, then the reflections are telling your brain, oh, it's coming from the center of the screen. If you're in an anechoic chamber, you would actually have a hard time understanding where that sound is coming from. The direct sound, the first arrival response, tells us what it's supposed to sound like. The accuracy and all that is very important because it gives us the tone of the sound. So I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And it makes a lot of sense. And it's very similar to, I know I did a video on some car audio drivers that had some major issues with the crossover and other things that it doesn't matter if you DSP or fix for certain things, those errors are still going to be there no matter what, and you just can't fix them. And same with diffraction, those errors are going to be there unless you work on them and fix them. It's still going to be audible. It's still going to be there. That's
Yeah.
but that's a choice that you get to make. And there are times where I will admit that I have chosen diffraction over looks. I'm sorry, diffraction because of looks over sound.
Yeah,
And
I
don't.
do that all the time. I often use my Chiari build. If anybody's watched my videos, I have square edge speaker baffles right now. I don't want to chamfer them. I may, but I don't want to. I might, because there's, keep up with my videos, even though they're slow, and you'll find out why. But yeah, it to me, it's like easier to construct. I like the look of it. That's how I want the baffles to be, even though technically a 1-inch roundover or something would reduce diffraction.
Kenneth is right. I don't want to spend much time on this, but he said, have the best sound quality possible before the room murders the response. This will make corrections so much easier. And he's right.
Yes. Because room treatment and correction isn't a bad thing. We should do it, just to a point.
No, but room correction isn't fixing the speaker. It's fixing the room.
Yeah.
And we're talking about fixing the speaker.
Yeah.
So Bill Anderson says, hey, I personally don't like the looks of Bowers and Wilkins speakers. Those are the ones that have kind of the round circle on top, and then they have that super tweeter on the very, very top. Yeah. Especially the upper end styles with the super, it says separate tweeter on top. I feel like it's a super tweeter. It might be a full tweeter. I'm not sure. I do like the looks of Wharfdale and Focals. And this is one of those cool things because Focals actually do something really cool. They do a couple things that are really cool that you can do as a DIYer that not only look good, but also give you a high-end sound at the end as well. So they're actually good for the sound. So let me pull one of those up. Are you familiar with what the Focals look like?
Vaguely. I don't know what would be special about them.
Well, I'm going to... Yeah, well, I'll show you. Let me open the image in a new tab just so we can see only the speaker and we don't have to see the $12,000 price point. All right, so here it is. So here's a Focal. They obviously do the time alignment with the the actual curve on the baffle. But one of the things that they do right here, and you can kind of see it was better on a different one. They do a really large roundover on all four sides, which is something that looks really nice. And also,
this is nice. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I said this is nice. I see what you mean now, and yeah, that's a very well thought out speaker,
and completely doable.
Yeah.
For some. Yep. There's a couple things that I really like about this that looks good and also adds to the performance. So one of the things, they add the speaker rings right here, which get rid of any diffraction that you'd have on any screws or things of that nature. And then that goes right into the baffle. And then they have these really large roundovers, which get rid of any of that diffraction that we would be typically having. It allows the sound to be able to wrap around really nice and gets rid of all that. Now, the last thing that they're doing, which is really cool, is they're putting this at an angle. And by doing that, they're time aligning the drivers. And that's what they're trying to do. At least I would assume so.
That's what it looks like to me. And it's a very good looking and clever way to achieve all of those things. Like if someone gave me unlimited carpentry skills, I would probably build something like that. I mean,
yeah, and I don't think this is out of the realm of what someone could do.
yeah. You
Like
don't need a CNC to do this. I mean, it would help, but
no, actually, what I would do if it was me that was doing this, I would build one brace for the inside that has the roundovers on the external roundover shape that I want on all four sides. So it would look almost like, like
sure.
that. And then I would build one, and then I would use template tape and just use a template router bit and just route out a bunch of those. Say, I don't know, I can't tell. Say 10, just to make it easy. Okay. So you'd have a top, a bottom, and then all your braces in between. And then I would get some 1/4 inch thin wood, maybe even thinner than that one, and just start wrapping it, gluing and wrapping it around the outside. And then you could have that done. And I think that would be a really nice looking speaker if you wanted to do that. And it wouldn't take a lot of skill. Like if you only had a couple tools, I think you could do it. It would take a lot of time.
I think it would take some skill, especially the bending of the plywood around it. You'd want to use some really thin bendy ply or something.
I apologize. I meant that it would take skill. I think I said it would not take skill. I'm sorry. No, it would take skill. You're right.
Yeah. Okay.
No, you're right.
But that's a great speaker. I also don't really care for the Bauer and Wilkins look. I think it's a little much. Like if they were in my living room, I'd be kind of like, what's that robot doing in the corner? That's just me though. I mean, some people love that kind of thing.
You know what? Well, let me show you the Bowers and Wilkins for those that are not familiar with those, and then I'll tell you one that has always kind of bothered me. So this is the Bowers and Wilkins, guys. Looks like a big tube down below. These are their woofers. I guess this is.
That's a mid. It's a good mid, actually.
It's not a coaxial. It's a mid.
No, it's a mid.
It is a mid. Okay, and then just a tweeter on top. So obviously, someone's going to ask, well, why is this not? Why are we not concerned about diffraction up here?
We are
on this tweeter to a certain degree, but it's not real. I mean, either. So the frequency at which it's happening is pretty high.
Yeah, it's pretty high and it's pretty rounded, but I don't know. You'd have to measure it. That's kind of a weird scenario.
Yeah, because you're probably only like what 3/4 of an inch or 1 inch.
I can't imagine the tweeter has much low end response.
Yeah, I can't imagine that.
It's got no baffle to support that.
So it's not designed for very much frequency at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could do this too. This is a great idea. You could make slices, stagger plywood or MDF. I think what he's meaning is you can, like if you have a big long piece of MDF, you can take it and kerf it along your table saw, and you just kerf every so many, depending on how tight you need to turn that, and then you can just wrap it around, and you just only need to kerf it where the curves are. So you could do that too. Bang & Olufsen made some interesting looking speakers. They did. They did.
They're interesting looking. They're just not for me. Yeah. And you know what? They probably sound really good. Probably better than anything I could do. So what am I talking about? But yeah, they just kind of look funny to me, especially for the price.
I'm going to get a bunch of people mad, but I'm going to say them anyway. All right. The ones that have always kind of confused me about, and I've had some before, like the Wharfdale classic looking ones, where they're like a box with the edge around the outside.
Yeah.
You know, where obviously it's going to be a huge diffraction issue.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Looks good though. Looks great. And then most of the older style clips, like the Cornwalls and things that with the big square, they're just not the looks for me.
Yeah.
And this is where I think speakers are really interesting, is the look really does play a huge role in whether you want it or not. If you're going to buy it.
Yeah, sure. Or build it. I mean, you're going to put all this time into it. You got to want to like the way it looks. I mean, how many people purchase a woofer or a tweeter based on how it looks? Like all of us, let's admit it, you know, like, oh, that new Dayton woofer looks so cool. I want to use it. and maybe you haven't even looked at the frequency response, it's just, it looks cool. I want to try it. I got to find a use for
I got to find a use for it.
We've all done that.
So I'm going to be honest. My build for Chiare is, there's going to be some things that you're not going to like about it. And there will be some issues with diffraction. Absolutely. And you're going to look at it, you're going to be like, Nick, why'd you choose this? And I'm going to tell you right now, I chose it for looks. Absolutely. I wanted it to look as good, because this is one of those things when you're building a high-end speaker. Like I remember I built the Dynas, which were not high-end. And it was kind of cool because I built it and I started a chamfer and I was like, I don't know if I want to finish this. And I stopped. And then I looked at it and I was like, oh, that looks really cool. And so then I kept it. I was like, I'm just going to keep this. Had nothing to do really with sound. The chamfer to begin with started with sound. But then afterwards, I was like, I'm stopping and keeping it here. And then there was another one, a Punk Kill Day, which is probably the worst speaker I made for diffraction, right? I had a software and I wanted to make a chamfer. And it's like, all right, you can make a chamfer with this with my CNC. And I was like, all right, cool. And I didn't make the step over small enough. So the step over, which means like it cuts one path and then it comes over and cuts the next path. It cut too far down. So it looked almost
like a ladder or stairs.
Yeah, like stairs going. And it looked beautiful. And I was like, I'm keeping it. Even though I knew that it was not ideal for sound, the look of it was, I was like, I like this so much better.
But how small were those steps were?
They were pretty small.
Yeah,
they were probably an 1/8 of an inch, maybe.
I mean, I don't think that would affect sound.
And it may or may not. I wasn't going to measure it both ways. I was going to only measure it one way because I already made the box. I was like, I like this. Because I could have made another baffle, right? Could have. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, why would I? Mm-hmm. What do you think about these people that build waveguides into the front baffle?
Oh, like take a CNC machine and carve out. Oh, I love it. I've tried to do it. I still would like to do a speaker like that. I've never completed one. Well, actually, I did have one that was sort of complete, but I don't think I ever finished it nicely. But yeah, I think that's a great idea. I think it looks amazing and it gives you great sound too.
So Brian's over here.
BMWs?
He's one of my patrons, and he had the ability to buy. I sold the Punk Kill Day speakers, drivers, and he bought all of them. Like everyone could buy, and he ended up buying all of them. And so he's like, "Hey, do you still have the cabinets?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Can I buy the cabinets?" I was like, "You can have them."
So he go to the landfill.
He actually drove down, picked them up. We rebuilt the thing. I don't think he had to redo the crossover, I think. And then so now he has the full those speakers, and he listens to them all the time. He tells me all the time how good they were great drivers. Those were if I remember correctly, those drivers were designed by ScanSpeak.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and so but they haven't been picked up anywhere in America yet, which is too bad. They're great drivers. Fantastic drivers. I really love them. I wish that they would get here. So they were designed by ScanSpeak, but they were built in China or something. They weren't actually built in Denmark.
Right.
They were built somewhere else. Yes, and I signed the cabinet. I did. He asked me to. I was like, sure. I was like, if you wanna, degrade these a little, I'll sign them.
I'm wondering how much the aesthetics of the driver does matter to you. Like I just said, sometimes is that a thing that you look at as well, or?
Absolutely. Like for example, one of the drivers that I don't like are the B4Ns by Hi-Vi, which are used in the overnight sensations, because I think they're ugly.
Yeah.
I do. I've used them, but I think they're ugly. Well, it depends on what you're like. You have to build around that. Like you have to design around that. Like if you're going to have your drivers showing, you have to design around that. One of the ones that's really cool. I love the Epic drivers because they look cool and they perform well.
Yeah.
Those are like, I I mean, there's a lot of driver those glass fibers from Wavecore I used because I liked the look of them, and I still like. I love the look of glass fiber. If someone said, "Hey, Nick, is there like one particular like mid-range or woofer that you would really, really like to build with as far as looks go?" Glass fiber would be one of them for sure.
Yeah,
just because of looks, and I do believe that using a driver like that absolutely adds to the look. I also like the look of aluminum cones, even though I will stand by what I've said a lot, which is if you're new, aluminum cones probably is not the first place to start.
Mm-hmm.
But so, I think they look good. I'm not a big fan of like really like plain paper cones or ones with big ugly dust caps in the middle.
Yeah. So would you agree that speaker terminal cups or binding posts have no effect on sound quality at all?
So here's the deal. I'll tell you that I don't care what the back of my speakers look like.
Okay, that was going to be my question. But okay, so does it affect the sound quality though?
I've never measured a difference.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. I don't think it does. I think you would agree with me.
Well, yeah, I've never measured a difference. If someone says, "Hey, there's a difference here," and it's something that I haven't measured, then maybe there is something. But I've never measured a difference. No.
Okay, I like the look of a nice binding post or terminal cup, so I will spend an extra $5 or $10 per speaker to have the nice whatever I put in there, usually binding posts or something like that. Would you do that? Is that something you would spend the money on or the time to install?
So when I got a laser, I started getting the aluminum ones, the black aluminum anodized.
Oh, yeah, and you can engrave in them. Yeah.
Engraving them.
Amazing. Oh, nice. Yeah, looks absolutely really good, I bet.
I would absolutely do it because that once again adds to the aesthetics and the value. Because when you turn that around and you show this to someone, I built this and they turn it around and it says the rule breakers on there, or it says the pint-sized powerhouse back there. They're like, whoa. And then I have Toyd's DIY audio on there and Tom Zarbo audio projects on the back. And like that's cool to me. Like that to me absolutely is a huge looks factor that has absolutely no difference in sound quality. But
that's what I was getting at. I don't think it makes a difference in sound quality, but it's something that I'll spend the time on. You know, like I find myself when it comes to aesthetics, I'll spend the time and money on good looking drivers, good looking binding posts, all that kind of stuff. Not so much the cabinet. And I like woodworking. I think I'm actually even okay at it. You know, I can veneer and things like that, but I just don't want like an extravagant build. I've done some curved builds and stuff. I just mostly want it, you know, I like the bits to look good, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like what Kenneth Rhodes says. Tom Z, which is Tom Zarbo, is a stud and a great guy. He absolutely is. I was so happy. I got to hang out with him at the speaker design competition. We've been talking back and forth for a long time. I've been helping him out with his channel every once in a while. He needed some help getting a 3D printer, so I helped him pick one out that he loves. So if you guys ever need 3D printer help, just you can tag me. I mean, not that I'm a 3D printing sub, but I can tell you which ones I've used that are good. Great guy. But we went actually after the speaker design competition, we went to the Dayton, Ohio has this amazing Air Force Air and Space Museum. It's from the Air Force, and it's awesome. And we hung out the day there and just it was great. Got to walk on a spaceship and a few other things, but just fantastic. Love that guy. There's some things that I know that to a certain degree, I think make speakers ugly, but I absolutely do all the time. So for example, subwoofers especially if it's not a powered subwoofer, I'll add, instead of like a terminal cup, I'm going to add like a locking post on there, like a Nutric speak-on connector. Yep. Mm-hmm. Which, depending on the speaker, depending on the placement, depending on where you put it, can be very, very ugly. Also, if I'm putting it in my home theater, almost always am I going to paint it with that ugly black Duratex
because it works and it's just like, who cares?
Yeah, and I I use a acoustically transparent screen, so it needs to be black behind there.
Right. Yeah.
So I can't just like build like the coolest looking speakers in the world, put them back there, and then be like, no one's going to see them. A, and B, they really need to be black.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't want to build white speakers. Yeah, I'm kind of the same. It depends like how I'm going to use them. If they're going to be, desktop speakers, so they're kind of small and everybody's going to see them, I might put in a lot of work because they're these little things in the corner that everybody sees. If they're going to be living room speakers, for sure, I'm going to put some time into them. If they're going to be subwoofers in my home theater, and people might even see them, but that's when form really follows function. I'm all about, because I'm going to turn it on and I don't really care what they think it looks like. I'm going to, rock and roll.
So here's one that I rarely do that does make it sound better. Oh, actually, I never do. I'm sorry. That I know makes it sound better. And I think it looks better too. And yet I never do it. And part of that's because I changed the motor out on my table saw and I can't really tilt it anymore. But that's beside the point. But one I don't, compound chamfers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's something that looks really, really good and also has a really good, like, if you do that, like, that's really good for also your diffraction and other things. So
Yep.
it technically should sound better. So it should look better and sound better. Like, that's something that I think more people should do. I don't personally do it very often.
It's
Well,
also
actually, I've never
not
done
that
it.
hard to do.
No. Well, if you have a table saw that can,
Yeah.
that can tilt.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I don't.
Depending on how big of a chamfer you want, you could maybe do it with a track saw or circular saw, with a guide, of course. Maybe tune it up with a plane or some sanding. Yeah.
I'm gonna see if I can pull up an image for
You and I
someone
did.
that doesn't know.
You and I did some speakers together. We
Oh,
used the
here's
same
one.
parts and we collaborated a little bit. And I did kind of like that.
You did, yeah. I forgot
Yeah.
about that. You're right. You did
Yeah.
do that. Yeah.
I can't remember if I used the
It
table
was a
saw.
small one, so I don't know that the
Yeah, it was
chamfer
small.
really made a big difference. To be honest, for that particular build, it may have. I don't.
It was
Do
more
you
a
think it?
looks thing.
Yeah, but that's the thing, right? Like sometimes that's what we do. We just say, "Hey, this looks good. Let's do it." So here's a chamfer, a compound chamfered
Yeah.
baffle.
Yeah.
Yeah. It starts off small and then gets bigger as it goes. So basically, you're making a triangle. And this is actually something that a lot of people will say sounds really good is a triangle shaped speaker. I have never done it. And part of that is because I think it looks ugly.
Yeah, I
But
prefer this over like an actual triangle, like a speaker that's narrow at the top and fat at the bottom. I don't care for that.
well, supposedly the chamfered triangle, or like an actual triangle, should also be good for internal reflections as well. Supposedly,
Yeah, true. True. I just
I've
stuff it
never
full of
measured it.
insulation.
It's like, we're good. Yeah. So this is I Tom Zerba built the cabinets and helped with the crossover for YouTuber John Audiotech. That's right. If you guys haven't seen that, that's a new video out for Tom and John. He actually brought those to the speaker design competition, and John actually picked them up. Oh, I didn't know YouTube added commercials and live streams. Interesting.
Yeah, they do that, and you'll miss out on like 10 seconds of the live stream, but YouTube does allow you to go back 10 seconds on a live stream. You don't have to stay right on the live mark. It's kind of annoying. Sorry about that.
Yeah, that just happens. First of all, before we go any bit further, I did just want to give a special shout out and thank you to Bass That Hurts, as well as I'm trying to get to the beginning of the screen. Gary. Yep, no, Gary Maker for the super chats, guys. That really is a huge ordeal, and it does help us continue this. So once again, just thank you guys for being able to support us in that way. It really does mean a lot to us.
Yeah.
Okay. I've never heard of Valchromat.
I just read that as you were saying that. I've never heard of that. Maybe
Okay.
I'll quickly Google it. Valchromat.
Valchromat. It's a high density colored throughout wood fiber panel, similar to MDF, but stronger and more stable, making it ideal for furniture, cabinets, and 3D cards. So, you know what? I've read about this actually. First of all, I don't think it's very common in America. And if it is, it's not common anywhere where I shop. But I did see that there's also a new one coming out that they're making that's supposed to be really cool too. And I think it'd be interesting.
I would love to try this Velcro mat because it comes in colors by the looks of things.
Yeah, it'd be much easier to finish, right?
Well, maybe even just, well, maybe I would hack it all up and it'd look terrible, but or you could do the baffle, like you could do a black box and then just do the baffle like red or some color. That might be kind of cool.
So this is a very interesting point because a lot of people won't use hardwood because hardwood is A, hard to work with, and B, can shrink and expand if depending on how you put it together, etc. And you know, you can have cracking and issues that you might have to deal with later. But I hate working with veneer. Veneer technically looks better. Yeah. So hardwood, yes or no?
Well, I've done it. I've never had issues, but it was always on a small speaker and I was very careful, used very dry wood. I always get nervous. I mean, who knows what's going to happen? But veneer, you're right. Veneer is a pain. Like YouTubers and people who do like threads and stuff on forums, they always make it look so easy. And then I go to do it and I'm like, I got a bubble, or you know, it's like it's a lot of work. Hours and hours later, it's like, okay, I got some crappy. I find even fake wood laminate I have better results with. I just think it looks better in the end, even though it's totally fake plastic.
I like the idea as well. Oh yeah. Thank you, TVOR. He said, I must say that the forum is spot on, just about done with the move over. Thank you for that. Yeah, there's a couple things I'm still trying to do to it, but it's mainly finished. So and we got rid of all the spam. So if you guys are interested, do it. One of the things I like with hardwood is when I use hardwood, I should say, I seal both sides of the hardwood. And I think that's where a lot of people don't do that. They don't seal the inside. And the inside is just as important to seal as the outside because moisture can still get in, especially if it's a ported one enclosure, you know. So I like to do a seal both on both sides before I glue on the actual front baffle. I really like hardwood front baffles. I think hardwood front baffles are so hard to beat as far as beauty and aesthetics go.
Yeah.
You can do things like what we talked about, like molding in your own wave guide, which looks fantastic on a hardwood.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, and then you could also do a large roundover on the sides, like do that and a lot like with hardwood, and it's great. You try to do that with like veneer. Oh gosh, I think that would be a nightmare. I mean, I'm sure someone can do it, but I couldn't.
And you can't with veneer. You can really only do it on two. You can't have a roundover on the top edge and side edge. Like I don't know how you do that, right? Yeah.
Well, you would have to stop. Like it would have to. Yeah, because when you have that weird, like, because it would be almost like a I don't think you can
curve. I don't know how you do it. Versus hardwood, you can.
I'm sure someone does it. Well, you know what you would probably do instead is I wonder if you would do that instead of veneer that like that. What is it like the sticker stuff that you put on?
Vinyl wrap stuff.
Vinyl wrap, yeah.
Which is probably do it with wood, but yeah.
No, it wouldn't. And it would, I mean, you could probably do a vinyl wrap with either of those, and it feels cheap.
Yeah.
Like when you pick up the speaker, it just feels cheap. There's something about the feeling too. I had these really cool speakers by Hi-Vi. They looked amazing. One of the coolest looking front baffles ever. And they were cheap. They were like $150 for the speakers and the subwoofers, a 2.1 system. I'll see if I can pull it up on Amazon. Worst speakers I have ever measured with diffraction. They were like so horrible. I was like, this is awful. And I was like, don't buy these. Like they are the coolest. Oh, here, the M10 Plus. Let me show these. They look so cool though. And if I didn't know any better, I would buy these in a heartbeat.
Oh,
See that?
those are bad?
Yeah, actually really bad. And it's because of a couple things. It's kind of hard to see. This is a better image of it.
Oh, that's what I was talking about. Yeah, mounting the tweeter from behind.
Well, and it's not only that, it's mounted from behind, and then it has these diffraction points, which I can't show you with the mouse, but like right here.
Yeah.
But then it goes over the edge, and these corners at the left and top corners actually come back towards
Oh,
the
wow.
listener. And so like you had diffraction at like every frequency. It was so bad. I was like, I cannot. And they did it so that it looked nice on the outside. Like you look at it and it looks really nice on the outside, right?
Yeah, it
It
looks
looks
cool.
it looks awesome. Like if I didn't know any better, I would buy these. And actually, I didn't realize that those went forward. And you can't really tell in these pictures. I did a review on them. You can see how bad they are by watching the review. The subwoofer looks cool, but they did that to hide all of the screws and everything else. So
Yeah.
they formed this. If they had, I will say this, I think if they had left that right hand and left hand side alone or just did a compound chamfer, like not have that come back, I think a lot of those things probably would have been okay or much better. And
Yeah.
maybe did a slight round over around the tweeter, right? Like maybe just round that over just a little so that's not a sharp diffraction point.
Yeah.
And then try to go into that chamfer. I think those probably would have been 100 times better than what they were. It was awful. And it's got 4.5 stars though, because
They look
it's that
good.
trick. It's that trick. It's like these look amazing.
Yeah, $156 and look how good they look. Yeah.
They do. Oh, and you can see it right here. See how the left edge or the front edge and the bottom edge both stick out? It's almost like a C or K, actually more like a K.
That's crazy.
Irish K.
Yeah, there's a lot of bad examples out there.
Oh, Josh Shoemaker, man, this guy is awesome. By the way, he has talk about a 3D printer phenom. Josh Shoemaker is a 3D printer phenom. That guy, he does his own 3D print. It's amazing. It's great.
What does that mean? Became a member?
So you can have memberships on your channel, and Josh is one of my members, and so I do some like little live streams for members every once in a while and stuff like that. So.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. So yep, he is one of those, which is awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, they are concave. It's a really weird looking design. It's like concave in some area. It's not designed properly. I'll just put it that way. It's designed for looks only. And that's I think when you run into the issue is when you go all in on looks, it's going to be bad on the final response. And
yeah, I got a problem with that.
Yeah. I know, for example, my Chiari build is not ideal in some ways. I know that. But I made the choice for aesthetic reasons.
And that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah. And you're always going to make that choice because if you didn't, your speaker's going to be ugly most of the time.
Yeah.
Unless you're Focal.
Focal knows what's up.
I'm just going to huge roundovers. You're good. All right, guys, we're gonna end. We're gonna end a little bit early tonight. Both Ryan and I said, "Hey, we gotta check out a little early because we both have things going on." One of the things I'm doing tomorrow is I'm doing an outdoor movie for my friends, and we're going to go do a drive-in movie theater. I have this projector that's awesome. If you guys have looked up the X1 Pro, look it up. The X1 Pro, awesome. I have that. I'm going to do a review on that. You guys can check it out. It's amazing. I have this 200-inch blow-up screen that we're going to put up, and it comes with a full surround sound system. It even comes with a karaoke system. It's really cool, and actually a really good projector as well. So we're going to do that tomorrow, and so I got to get ready for that. And then I do have some other videos coming out this week. We'll see what I can get done. What about you, Ryan? You got anything else coming out on your channel?
I have basically done nothing for my channel for 2 weeks. I've been helping my kid with his first car, and he wants to put subwoofers in it. So I might dabble with car audio. Also, I have everything prepared to start doing the video work for a video about speaker wire. Not the cabling from our amp to our speakers, but like internal speaker wiring, crossover wiring and stuff, because I get a lot of questions about it. To me, I thought it was obvious, but I don't think it is. So I'm gonna go technical deep dive, which is, you know,
you're talking about like how much, like what size speaker wire to use, or
yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'm
no, actually, that's a great. I want to mention this because I think this is a great point. I did a video where I powered a car audio amplifier in the house, and I had about this much power wire, and I used like 16 gauge or something.
Yeah,
And people were like, "You can't use that. You need 1 gauge. You need
It's too small."
And I'm like, no, that's very important that you understand that how far you go has a huge impact on what gauge you need.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about that because even my kid, who sadly knows nothing about audio, one of the first things he asked me was, how big a wire do I need for his car thing? I'm like, oh, here we go. So I get a lot of questions about it on my designs and builds on my channel, and that came up, and I was just like, you know what? I'm going to myth bust this. So I'm going to get nerdy about it. It won't be exciting because, you know, people like to see.
I'm already excited.
Well, people like to see the 0 gauge wire and, you know, all this kind of stuff, and I'm gonna take away their joy like I usually do on my channel. So
we're gonna change your name to Joy Stealer. Joy Stealer.
Joy Kill. Impulse Audio.
Joy Kill. Joy Kill might be taken, actually.
Yeah.
That's a TV show. All right.